How you doing, everybody? Me again. I don't know. I just got off work, and I don't know. I felt like recording something. I don't know. There was when I posted that video explaining where I've been. A couple of people asked about the surgery, and they'd like to hear the story. So I figure I can tell you all about my experience with the gastric sleeve surgery. Um, so March of last year, no, I guess that would be last year. I went to the doctor and I had ballooned up to 430 pounds, and that was pretty, that's a large amount, and considering I'm about 6 foot, 430 pounds is, that's a lot of that's a lot of person. You know what I mean? So I did that, and it was around that time that I finally just said, I'm done. I got to do something about it. And I'd always been thinking about doing the surgery. It was something that people. My doctors would always say, hey, do you want to try this? And I didn't want to get cut, or, I didn't want to have to do surgery because I got this. I can handle it, right? Yeah, no, I couldn't handle it. I still can't. Food to me was, it's a lot like a smoker quitting smoking. I still miss it from time to time, but now that I've had the surgery and everything like that, I don't, it's not something I think about all the time. Um, you know, so it's there's a good thing with that. But at the time, even before, it was all just, hey, you need to get this done, and I was like, I'll be all right, but I wasn't all right, and I'm glad that I actually got it, and I went through with it. So March, I was 430. I went to an eye doctor because my eyes were getting bad because of my weight. I have papillary edema, which is an intracranial hypertension. So that's a lot, and that sucks. And then I went to my actual doctor, and my primary, and he was like, okay, well, you need to do something or else you're gonna die, pretty much. This is getting bad. Once I crossed that 400 mark, that was like, whoa. It took me 30 pounds past that to kind of push me over the edge, so that's saying something. So I decided then, I was like, yes, do it. So basically, you start off with your primary care, and they got to get the recommendation for you. And then he was like, well, where do you want to go? Where do you want to do this? Because this is considered a life-saving surgery. So I only paid the insurance pretty much pays for it. Especially if you have a doctor recommending that you get it done. I think that's kind of the deal. So he got all that, and I said I want to go to Hopkins because, I live by Hopkins, and I trust them, and I hear their bariatric team is pretty good, and I have a couple friends who went to Hopkins and got their stuff done, and everything went well. So I called, and they got me an appointment. I think it was a couple weeks after that. And I went in, and they said, yes, you are a very good candidate for it. My doctor was Dr. Michael Schweitzer. You can look him up. He's a great guy. If you're looking for a doctor who's like very, kind of outgoing and lovey-dovey and hands-on all, he's not quite like that, but he's not mean at all. He's just very matter-of-fact. Okay, let's get this done, boom, which is the kind of doctor I like. He's like, okay, here's what we're doing. We're going to do this. Everything's going to be great. Let's, I'll see you when you're all, you're all finished. Because he sees people day in and day out and does this, 1,000 times, a year. So this is, it's old hat for him. So and I'm sure he meets a lot of people who at the end don't actually get the stuff done, and it's just the way he is. But I like him. I would never trade him for anybody else. He's a great doctor. 5 stars out of 5. So yeah. Dr. Michael Schweitzer. So I went there, and so I had begun to lose a little bit of weight because I went to the gym the day of the that I weighed myself and I was 430, and I decided, I have this gym membership, and I'm going to start using it. And when I went there, my soon-to-be trainer, who I didn't know at the time, I went into the gym, and I know it's the hardest thing ever to get back into the gym, but just get there. You don't have to do anything, just go, because once you're there, and that starts the process of getting, normalized to just going. So that's my tip for that. So I went, and, it was good. And, I stayed there for about 5 minutes. I think I got on the treadmill for about 5 minutes, and then I went down. I walked out, and on the way out, I just had to tell the person at the desk, and Nate, my trainer, was actually, standing right there. I said, I just want to let you know this was a big thing for me. I just, that was literally essentially my first step into actually, getting healthier. That was literally my first step. And I got embarrassed by saying that, and I walked out real fast. And Nate actually ran after me, and he like I said in the thing, he didn't give me his card. He wasn't pushing for, anything like that. He just wanted to say, hey, good job. You did a great job. Just keep at it, because I know you can, if you put your mind to it, you can work and do it right. So, I said thanks, and it was funny that like the next day or the day after, I went back to the gym, and I asked him, and I was, I actually went up and got his card and everything, and the email correspondence, and that's how he became my trainer. Because I realized, yes, it's expensive to have a trainer, but I was putting money like that into food and stuff like that. I calculated, I pretty much spent about, maybe per year $5,000 on like just excess food and stuff like that, and that's excess food, not like normal breakfast, lunch, and dinner, but excess food. So I did that, and so it's better to pay for that than it's better to pay for a trainer than for excess food, right? So I've been going to the gym for a little bit, and I lost a little bit of weight, so I was down to, I think, like 419 or something like that, whatever it was, and that's when I begun the classes. Now, with my insurance, in order to get this surgery, you have to go to like 6 classes, one a month. You cannot miss one. You basically are proving to the insurance company that this is not a joke to you. And in these classes, they teach you everything from what to expect, how to eat better, portion control, why sleep is important, vitamins, all the vitamins you're going to be taking, all the different protein supplements you're going to need to take in order to, because I have to eat about 80 to 120 grams of protein a day. I have to drink 64 ounces of water a day. You might think you do that, but until you actually drink 64 ounces of water in a day, you realize just how much water that is and how hard it is to do. Some of you might, because you're kind of healthier, and that's and that's great, but 64 ounces of water is pretty tough. And then all the different stages, you got to eat kind of a pureed thing, or it's all liquid, like in the very beginning, and then you graduate to a little bit thicker, and then you graduate to a little bit thicker, and then you're on this other stage which is a little bit more solid food, which is kind of where I am right now for the next month. And then eventually you kind of break free, because you're resetting your stomach, and you're basically kind of like like a baby getting used to regular food. So you have to start from scratch again. So yeah, so that's what I had to do. And what I chose to get was the gastric sleeve. Now, there are 3 different versions of the stomach surgery. There's the lap band, which I guess would be level 1. The gastric sleeve, which is what I got, which could be level 2. And then the gastric bypass. The lap band is where they literally go in and put a band around your stomach to make it smaller. You can adjust, it can be adjusted, taken out, and all that. Doctors don't like to do that because it's basically introducing a foreign object into your body. Sometimes the band is rejected by the body, and you can get sick, and it can hurt you. Sometimes the band can slip, and that's bad. And now a lot of people get the band and the sleeve mixed up because they envision that there's like a sleeve, going around your stomach. That's not it. The reason why they call it the gastric sleeve is because your stomach is this big bulbous thing, and basically what they do is they trim the excess off so that your stomach is basically the size of a medium-sized banana. So you got the esophagus, and it goes down, and then there's usually there's this big section with your with your stomach. But they cut all this off, so it's basically just one long tube. And then or your esophagus goes down, hits the stomach, which is just about this big, this big, and then it goes into the the intestines and stuff like that. They just reduce the size of your stomach, and that's what I got. And then now the bypass is where they pretty much completely cut the stomach. They leave like about a walnut size amount of stomach left, and they kind of shove it off to the side, and then they. You're basically literally bypassing the stomach, and they bring up the small intestine up into that portion of the stomach, into that little walnut-sized portion, and that's kind of what you're left with. But they leave your stomach in there, actually, all the rest of your stomach, because that's cool, because the stomach then can still produce all the digestive juices and things like that, and you don't actually have to eat as many vitamins if you do that. But it's more of a major surgery, and you have to deal with a lot more. The recovery is a lot can be a lot harder. So some people need the gastric bypass. That's exactly what they need. For me, the gastric sleeve was good. It's good enough. You lose more with the gastric bypass than you do with the sleeve, but maybe about only 10 or 20% more. The sleeve is mainly just there for that. The one thing I will say about this surgery is that it's not a fix, because it's a tool to help you get skinnier. Okay, you still have to deal with the cravings in your mind, and you have to work on that. If you don't have your head right before you get this surgery done, you're going to get the surgery done, lose a ton of weight. Then after about 6 months, and your body kind of adjusts, and your stomach starts to expand more because you eat still, you're still eating crap because you're addicted to food like I was. You'll do all of that, and then you'll gain the weight back. You will, and it's happened before. And they will tell you that it's happened before, because it happens all the time. People think they go in, oh yeah, this is great. And no, that's not it. And it's not an instant fix. Like, some people were asking, well, do you just go in and then you get skinny? No, that's not it. I go in, after, and they do the surgery, and then over time I lose a lot of weight, because I lose more weight than I would, normally. And that's exactly what I wanted, because I'm allowed to go to the gym and still work out. And then, with this gastric sleeve, it helps me because I'm not taking as many calories. Losing weight is very simple. Don't take in as many calories as you exert, or something like that. Don't eat 1,000 calories more than you've exerted throughout your day. If you work out, and if you eat right and work out, chances are you will have exerted more than you've taken in, and your weight goes down. And when you're at the weight you want it to be even. You want to exert as much as you take in, and then that way you can stay even. But for me, losing weight was hard because I just couldn't get it out of my head. I had to go to a lot of therapy to kind of understand what was going on. And honestly, I needed to hit bottom and see 430 pounds on the scale before I finally said, I can't do this anymore. And I just got so sick of it. I got sick of food. I got sick of seeing myself like that. My knees were hurting. My ankles were hurting. My eyes were getting bad. My skin was just looking terrible. And I was sick of it. I got so sick of it. And that was it. And you know, I haven't looked back. So yeah, those are the 3 surgeries. And honestly, hold on 1 second. There we go. Just had to get on. I had to make that right turn. But honestly, you know, it sounds a lot more intense than it really is. I had a great experience with it. I know some people haven't, but I have so far have had the best experience with it. You know, of course there was a little bit of pain, you know, like in the beginning, but not as much pain as, you know, I was putting myself through what, you know, being 430 pounds. So believe me, it's totally worth it. So I did the classes. Well, you know, it took me about 6 months from I think it was April or May to September or whatever that is. And it was good because during that time you also get weighed and you have to lose. Also for my insurance, I had to lose 10% of my current body weight. So I had to lose about 30 pounds, and that was good because it gave me a goal, something to work out with. You know, so I kept going to the gym. I would eat a little bit better, but at the same time, there would be, there were times when I would lose a lot and then I'd gain it right back, you know, or gain a little bit more back, and then I'd try to, you know, tighten the reins on it a little bit, and then I'd lose more. You know, and I also this also happened around the time I went to Disney World and you know, Christmas and Thanksgiving. So it's, it was tough because, you know, your mind was still playing tricks on you. That other guy in my head that wants to eat a lot kept tempting me, and he would release that little bit of, you know, dopamine in my head that would make me just go crazy and say, hey, you should eat this, you should do this. And eventually I got sick of him and I said, you know what, you can yell all you want, you little son of a bitch. It's coming, it's ending. You can't stop this surgery. And eventually I gained kind of power over myself, and it was kind of a cool thing. So again, it's all mental usually with us fat people that have a tough time. Like, you can blame it on anything else, but it all starts up here. It all starts up here. You can't blame a doctor, you can't blame this, you can't blame that. If you want something bad enough, you'll go out and get it. Or at least that's the way it is with me. If I want something bad enough, I will go out and get it. And I wanted to get fit, and I wanted to get healthy. I wanted to stop hurting, and that's what I was doing. And I was going to do it come hell or high water. If I have to prove to myself that I gave it one honest to God hard shot before I give up and say, all right, just take me and let me be fat and die in my recliner chair. But no, that's not what I wanted, and that's what it's what I changed. So I urge you guys to people who are thinking about it, who are kind of on the fence about it, get this done. Go see your doctor. Get a doctor. Take care of yourself. You are worth it. And don't ever believe that you're not, because if you don't believe that you're not, then other people, how can you expect other people to? And it's not about other people, but it's more about loving yourself and getting it right up here, okay? And that's what it is. So after the classes ended, I went to Disney World, and before I did, I called the doctor, to set up the appointment, and they were like, okay, so it's going to take a couple weeks to get back to you because we have to get all the stuff for your insurance to have the insurance get approved, and then we can make the actual appointment then. So it took about 3 weeks for the insurance to get approved because of the holidays and Thanksgiving and stuff, but eventually that happened. Then I got once that got approved, they made the surgery date, which was January 8th. I thought it was going to be the end of January. I was so thrilled that it was January 8th rather than the end of January. Once they did that, I basically just had to go to a lot of pre-ops and get everything all set up with that. I had to get weighed again, and I had to do pre-surgery stuff, blood draws, that sort of thing, to make sure I'm good. I did everything I could to not get sick. I actually got sick, I think, with a cold 2 weeks before the surgery date. The week before I was okay, and then the day of I was fine. So the 2 weeks before the surgery, I had a cold, and I was so pissed. So I did nothing but sleep and drink water, which to me is the best thing to help a cold. Just sleep a lot and drink a lot of water to flush it all out, and it helped me. It helped me out, and that worked out. What else? So I went through Christmas. Christmas Day was the absolute last day I could eat just about anything I wanted. Which was good because I was able to eat Christmas cookies and stuff like that. But it was funny because I didn't really, I didn't want to. I ate a good amount, but I didn't go completely overboard like, some people do. Some people think they have to do all this to do whatever, this is my final goodbye. It only makes the next 2 weeks harder, let me tell you. Because before your surgery, what they want you to do, you go on a 2-week diet that is supposed to kind of make your liver not as fatty and shrink your liver a little bit to give the doctor more room to work, because they can go in and do the gastric sleeve laparoscopically, which is what they did for me because I followed the directions and I got everything right. But if you don't, they will have to actually cut you open and they'll leave you with a big old 6-inch scar to do what they need to do. I'd rather have the little scars over here rather than this one big scar going down the middle. But that's just me. That's up to you. I would recommend you just follow the instructions to make it as easy as possible on yourself, because you want the doctor to have the easiest time as well. So anyway, 2 weeks, basically, I couldn't eat any more than, I think it was 600 calories a day. Now, you might be thinking, how the hell is that possible? Well, the first 3 days were the worst ever because my body was going through caffeine withdrawal, sugar withdrawal, and basically just getting all these hunger pangs. But I will say, after about the third day, I was doing all right. It kind of started going away. The withdrawal symptoms went away, and it is withdrawal. Believe me, sugar and caffeine are a drug. Don't let anybody tell you they're almost more powerful than tobacco and nicotine and all that other stuff. Trust me. Try to get off of sugar and caffeine and see how you feel. Let me tell you. Anyway, so. After the third day, I was doing okay, and I fell into a rhythm, and I found what I was able to eat and what I wasn't, and so I would wake up in the morning and have one of these fat-free 30 grams of protein shakes. They want you to load up on these on the protein kind of before the surgery as well, and then and honestly, all I ate was those shakes, and I would eat some lettuce, bib lettuce. I found some fat-free, completely zero-calorie dressing. It's called from Walden Farms, I believe, which actually tasted pretty good. I made ground turkey, which you might not think is good, but I like ground turkey more than I like ground beef, especially for tacos. And I would make pounds of ground turkey taco mix, ground turkey with taco mix in it. And again, I'd try to skim as much fat off of it as I could, and I would just I put stuff in religiously. Hey, this is what I ate. This is it. I only ate 600 to 800 calories a day, with all this stuff, and I did it. It was tough, but I did it. I found 0-calorie drinks that I like. Propel. I would just drink water. Even what is it? Crystal Light pink lemonade is my favorite. So that's what I did. I just did that. And once you fall into a routine and you just make the food not about pleasure but about just getting calories, and it actually becomes a little easier. Your relationship with food changes, and that's a big thing. So I did that for 2 weeks, and I lost about, I want to say, 20 pounds in 2 weeks, which is good. 10 pounds a week, that's a pretty good deal. And when the doctor went in and he looked, I shrunk my liver up a lot, and he was very pleased with how it all came out. And that's kind of what they want you to do. They want you to lose, a good, that during that 2 weeks, they want you to lose a little bit of weight. They really do, because it helps, again, more with your overall goal. So here comes January 7th, which is the day before. An all clear liquid diet. Basically, I just drank, I think it was a couple of the shakes. They allow you a couple of the, it's called Premier Protein. It's you can look it up. It's just a 11 ounce, kind of shake. Almost looks like the Atkins shakes. I actually have one right here that I didn't, because I always bring extra stuff now, in case I go somewhere. Let me see here. It's in my lunch bag right here. This is the Atkins shakes right here. This is strawberry, and this is only 15 grams of protein. The Premier Protein chocolate is 30 grams of protein, which is good. But for what I'm doing right now, since I'm eating more solid stuff and getting a lot of my protein from more actual food, these are good snack things because they don't have any fat, 1 gram of fat, and good amount of protein, and it tastes pretty good. So get used to protein drinks. So I know this is going long, but whatever. I'm here in traffic for an hour, so you're going to listen to me for an hour. So January 7th rolls around, all liquid diet, just because they don't want anything in your stomach, and you actually have to drink, which is funny. They actually have to, before you go into surgery now, they have you drink a regular Gatorade the night before, and then another regular Gatorade the 2 hours, at least 2 hours before your surgery, or 3 hours before your surgery, whatever it is, because it's like what is it? It's like carb loading. It's like when runners eat a bunch of pasta before they go on their marathon runs, because it loads up on, you load up on carbohydrates, and then it gives you energy to last the marathon. And since your body's essentially going through a marathon when you're going into surgery, same rules apply here. Yeah, I did that. And I went in the day of the surgery. My mom was, with me. She was more nervous than I was, I think. I trusted the team. And when you go through this whole process, you meet the people that you're working with. And man, everybody at Hopkins, they just, because it's so matter of fact to them, I responded well to that. And man, it was, everybody put me at ease, because it's just like, yeah, here we go. We're going to do this. You're going to be fine. Everything's going to be great. So I went in, I had to, put all my stuff away and get in the gown, which is always awkward for me because I don't like being, naked at all. So I had to put the hat on and the little boots, and they, one of the nurses came in to put in the IV in for all the stuff, the anesthesia. I met the anesthesiologist. They were very nice, and I had to tell them about my problems with anesthesia, because I've been put out once before, because I had to have a colonoscopy and an endoscopy or whatever it is, because it was just something, it was a prerequisite that I had to do for my surgery, just because of problems that they wanted to verify that, like weren't going to affect anything. Not saying you're going to have to deal with that, but I had to get that. So because I had gotten knocked out before, which is not a problem, by the way, I'll get to that in a second. Because I had that before, I was able to tell them, hey, I have a small airway, so use the small tubes, or just be careful with that. And what was the other stuff? And because of that, I don't remember. I don't know. It was one other thing that. I also get sick after I come out of nausea, or anesthesia. So give me this extra little thing. They actually have an additive they can put into your system that will help you with your post anesthesia nausea, which is good. So I did all that, and it was cool. To talk to them, and they again made me feel very, very relaxed. I met some of the support doctors, and then the actual doctor came up and said, "Hey, are you ready?" And I was like, "Yeah." So the last thing I remember is them saying, "Okay, we're going to put some stuff in your system to make you feel pretty good, and then you're going to go to sleep." I was like, "Okay." So my mom kissed me, and I was going away, and then the freaking drugs hit, which was so funny because, these were like whoopity-doo drugs. There was like, all right, I feel pretty good. There we go. And then I don't remember anything. That's the one thing about anesthesia. Some people get really scared about being put under of anesthesia and stuff like that. When you're in a good, trusted area, and, the whole process of being put under, it's very anticlimactic. Because you're like, oh, I'm fine, I'm not gonna, and you just go to sleep. You don't realize it. And I guess I would have to almost assume that that's what dying is like, because you just kind of go unconscious and you don't even realize it's happening. There's no, you're not dreaming. You're way out. You're all out. You don't dream at all. If you say that you were dreaming when you went into anesthesia, that means you started dreaming on the way out. And dream time is a lot different than regular time. Most people dream on the way out of sleep than they do when they're actually sleeping. It just kind of is. Even though the longest dream ever can feel like the longest dream ever, it's actually not. It's pretty, the longest dream you've ever had can take a split second in real time, pretty much. So that's just how fast your brain can move. So anyway, I got put out, and I don't remember anything until I remember them kind of asking me how waking me up and everything. And I was in the recovery area, and I'm not gonna lie, I felt some pain. There was some pain there, but that's normal because I just had 2/3 of my stomach taken off. And I had 6 holes, 6 little, cuts in me. And, but it really wasn't that bad. I've had kidney stones before, and I'd rather go through surgery again than have to deal with kidney stones. I'm sure childbirth is a lot worse than this. So, maybe I wasn't lucky, or I'm sorry, maybe I was lucky and everybody else wasn't. I don't know. Or the people that have had problems, I didn't have any problems. I never had a problem. So basically, what did I do? Basically, they asked me, "What's your pain level out of 10?" And I said, "I guess a 7." And then they gave me this pain medication, intravenously, because you're still hooked up to the IV, which I hate. That's the only part of it I hated, because I hate being tethered to something. So my pain went down real good. It went down. It felt like velvet running through your veins. I can understand why this stuff is addictive. So that was pretty much the only pain medication they gave me. They offered me, oxycodone to take home, and I was like, nah, I'm good. But they snuck it in on me anyway, and I wound up throwing them away. And I just took a little bit of Tylenol, and everything was good. You know, I took Tylenol for about 4 days, and then I didn't need it anymore. So yeah, that was the actual surgery. I don't remember again, I wasn't awake when anything. I remember that. I remember my mom coming in during the, during the recovery. She was being all dramatic and everything. God, well, I love you, Mom. But I was feeling fine. I was sore, but I was feeling fine, and I tried to sleep. And I sleep with a CPAP machine because I have sleep apnea. And in order for me to sleep, I need my CPAP machine. They kept wanting me to sleep, and then when I was laying back, what sleep apnea does is it stops you from breathing. So basically, I would stop breathing for a second, and my blood oxygen level would go down. So the oxygen meter would trip, and they'd say, "Okay, sir, you got to breathe." And I kept saying, "Get me my CPAP machine." What they thought I meant was, I need to know where my CPAP machine is because I don't want to lose it. I could not. In my delirium, I could not, I guess explain to them why I needed my CPAP machine. So anyway, it took about 4 hours for me to find a room because they were kind of full up, and they had to clean it and everything and sterilize it. So eventually I got a room. I was lucky I got one by myself. That doesn't happen a lot. And so I was in my room. And then I was like, get me my CPAP machine so I can fall asleep. Because whenever I'm hurt or I'm sick, the main thing I want to do is sleep. Because sleep is where your body can heal itself, especially a lot better than if you just stay up and go. Obviously, exercise is good for healing and stuff like that. But eventually, there are times when sleep is very necessary. So they got a guy to come in and hook it all up for me. I put my mask on and I was out. They had the IV in me, so I had to go up. I had to wake up it was almost clockwork. Every 2 hours I had to pee. And that's pretty much, what I did for, from 8 in the afternoon or 4 in the afternoon. I slept from 4 to 8, woke up and peed. And then every 2 hours I would have to go to the bathroom again, and they had to measure it. It's so awkward. My butt was hanging out. Oh, it was so terrible. I hate being naked in front of people. I don't even like being naked in front of my mirror. It's just so weird. Anyway, I know, nurses, I've seen it all. Yeah, well, you know what? It's still awkward for me. Anyway, so I go in. And I wake up and I sleep as much as I can because it's so. Hospital beds aren't the most comfortable in the world, you know what I mean? So about, I want to say 8 a.m. I woke up pretty much, and I was like, okay, I'm awake now. And I started, they had me walking throughout the night pretty much. They have you walking, literally. They get you up and going because it helps the healing process. You walk around a little bit, and you fall asleep. You walk around a little bit and fall asleep. They basically want you to fart to prove to them, or have a bowel movement to prove to them that, everything's working. The tubes are all right. Like nothing's crimped or anything like that. So that, eventually that happens. And then around 11 o'clock, they said, okay, you're done. My mom picked me up and drove me home. And then I fell asleep a little bit, and and you eventually start to learn how to eat again. That starts with for me, and this was my doctor's recommendation, I only had to do 1 week of all liquids, all clear liquids. So basically, water, broth, things of that nature. The protein shakes. That's pretty much it. That was honestly the roughest part of it because I was getting tired of sweet stuff. Apparently, after the surgery, my taste for sweet kind of lessened, so I don't really like sweet stuff a whole lot anymore. So eventually, I graduated to really soft foods, like pureed foods, which is like hummus and like cottage cheese and mashed potatoes. So basically, for a month, I ate, in addition to the broth and all that stuff, basically just mashed potatoes, cottage cheese, and hummus with salt and pepper. And that's pretty much it. And you might think that's absolutely terrible, but it actually tastes pretty good. Again, it's just food. It's not, dog crap, so it could be worse. What else? And I just got finished the soft food stage, which is basically a little bit harder foods. The like what? Like I could do canned chicken. Basically I just had to zhuzh everything in the blender. Zhuzh is a verb for blend. So it's not quite pureed or that stuff, but it's a little bit thicker than pureed. So I would mix like harder stuff in there with my pureed foods. And now I'm in like where I can do actually ground beef, whole beans, that stuff like that. Stuff that I can chew to still get into a mushy form. And again, you learn to chew properly and eat slowly, because literally about 3-4 normal spoonfuls of food fills me right up. So I have to eat kind of smaller portions and use smaller bites, and I have to be rude in restaurants and eat small or like and look on my phone in between bites. It has to happen, because otherwise if you eat too fast, you'll get a stomach ache. You'll fill up too fast. And you can eat an entire hamburger, but you're going to throw it back up. So if you eat slowly, you fill up you fill up I don't want to say quicker, but the signals don't get mixed up, and you actually don't get sick and throw up, because I think that's where a lot of people get hung up on things. Like I still use only a small bowl, and all that, just kind of how it is. So yeah, I did that, and that's where I am. Like my lunch today was a little bit of mashed potatoes, with some ground taco meat. Again, I love the taco meat. I found a recipe from this guy who also had the gastric sleeve, who basically using refried beans and refried beans, fat-free sour cream, which I substituted with Greek yogurt, fat-free Greek yogurt, and this awesome enchilada sauce that you can get from Taco Bell. I also use the Old El Paso kind, and then cheese on top of it, like the fat-free or low-fat cheese. And it tastes really good. I enjoy it. And I also read somewhere that you're not supposed to eat spicy food while during this, because it can activate things. I never had a problem with heartburn or anything like that. So my body is so used to eating, my body is so used to eating spicy foods. It's unreal. So, yeah. So my body is so used to eating spicy foods, it's unreal. So yeah, I can handle a little bit of salt and red pepper and stuff like that. So a spoonful of potatoes, a spoonful of the refried bean stuff, a spoonful of the low-fat cottage cheese, which just kind of gets mixed in anyway, so it's just more protein to add to everything. And what else? I think that was it, and you just kind of put it all together. You learn to like thin out foods, and it's a lot of low-fat stuff. It doesn't sound good, but health food has come a long way, and it actually makes food, people actually make healthy food taste a little bit better now, which is good. So what did I do? So that's where I am right now, and that's the surgery. That was my experience. I went on a couple post-surgery visits, and everything's looking good. The wounds healed great, and that was it. So yeah, that's pretty much what's been going on with me. I went on a couple of post-surgery visits, and everything was looking good. The wounds healed good. I can now begin to work out. They always want you to walk, because again, it helps with your healing, and it also helps with, this is going to sound bad, but your bowel movements, because you are eating a lot of food and a lot less fiber, a lot of protein and a lot less fiber. You will your poo is going to be kind of, I know it's kind of disgusting, but it's going to be a lot more firm than what you're used to, because you can't eat raw, you can't eat salads and stuff like that, because it takes a while for your body to get used to salads and raw vegetables again, because you can't just tear out 2/3 of your stomach and then expect to be right as rain the next day. I want to eat this. You can't do that. It'll actually really hurt you. So what I've been doing was adding a lot of, like I add some Benefiber to my meals along with the protein. It just, and it's all flavorless, so you just add it and you don't even realize it's there, especially when you mix it all up. It's just, you got to get your protein in. You got to get your fluids in. Again, drinking the water helps tremendously, because that also helps to free things up, if you to try to be a nice way to say it. And your constipation goes away, hopefully, and you don't get hurt by it. So yeah, that's what's been going on with me. That's my surgery story. I had I couldn't have asked for anything better. I got so lucky with the surgeon. I got so lucky with everything, but I also don't want to I don't want to contribute it all to luck, because I know I put a ton of freaking work in. I worked so hard on this, it's unreal. And it's good. So yeah, I will see you guys a little later. I'm sure I'll have another video. I don't know what else it's going to be. If you guys have any ideas of what videos you want me to make, let me know, because I'm thinking of doing another Subnautica thing, but of the original Subnautica. But I don't want to be another gaming channel, because everybody does that. But I don't do anything else. I paint miniatures, I work out, I read a little, and I occasionally play a video game like Subnautica or Farming Simulator or something like that, So if you would like to tell me exactly what you would like to see, aside from the Disney news and reviews, that's not happening. I don't know what's been going on with Disney. I'm very out of the loop with that. I'm just, that's in the past. But if you guys have any ideas, let me know. Otherwise, you'll just get random videos like this that, with me talking for what's an hour plus. But then again, this was a long story. I don't plan on making videos this long, but it happens every now and then. Eventually, that's just what has to happen, okay? It's just what has to happen. So I'll see you guys later. You be safe out there, especially if you're getting snowed on. And I'll talk to you later. Bye, guys.